Hiya, I'm Kerry from Mobilates, and I'm here with you for another session of mindful Mobilates Pilates. So that's Pilates style exercise. You might recognize some of the moves if you've done Pilates in the past, and they're adapted. They're adapted for standing, sitting, lying down, and a sort of mix of all those things. So I'm going to be standing and sitting for about 10 or 15 minutes, and then I'm going to go to a lying down position. I'll be on my mat, but you might be on your bed. You could be on the floor on a mat, or using something like a softer blanket, something like that. But I'll also keep giving seated instructions throughout. So if getting down onto the floor is not something you want to do today, or it takes too long to do during a live session where you can't pause it, maybe you'll do that in the catch-up session. Maybe you'll go back up and repeat this session and do it then, or maybe not. It doesn't matter. But I'll give you all the instructions throughout. I am at last feeling a little bit warmer today because our temperature is just creeping up. So hurrah to that. Nice to be a bit warmer. We're going to start with our jaw. It's an area that gets so tight for many people, this joint here, TMJ. And we're going to give it a little massage on the outside. We're not going to do the internal massage. So we put our thumb just at the bottom of the jawbone, just as it goes around the corner. And then you can have 1 or 2 fingers at the sides and just a gentle circle. It might be a really tender spot. And if it is, please just make it really soft. You can let your fingers stroke and slide rather than sort of pushing and moving the skin. That can be, if it's sore, that could be sort of just too uncomfortable. So you just go with what feels nice for you today. I'm at a place where I can push it, but I don't want to press too hard. So just giving that a gentle circle. And as you do that, could you open your mouth just a little? Doesn't need to be like really big, but just soften your jaw. Your teeth aren't together. That's it. And now could you just make it little fingertips, little taps, just around your jaw. Again, with this soft mouth. Gorgeous. Place your hands on your waist, just at the sides. Just about feel ribs under there. Could you take a breath in and take the breath, the pressure of your breath coming in. I want it to go to your hands here, and you might have your hands like this. I tend to fold mine back. And you're trying to push your hands out. And then as you breathe out, they come in again. So you can see mine, I'm going to push them out. That's their widest point. That's the narrowest point when I breathe all the air out. Now I've got quite a big range. I practice this a lot. I keep this sort of stretchiness in my ribs. If it's new to you, you might just get a tiny movement, might be millimeters, 1/4 of an inch. But we're looking for these lower ribs here, just to bring back a bit of springiness, give the intercostal muscles, the muscles in between the ribs, a little bit of a workout, a gentle workout. Now take your hands to your hip bones. So the bumpy bits at the front rather than here at the side is those bits there of where we can feel our pelvis sticking out. Soften your knees if you're standing. Send your breath to your sides, just like you did when your hands were on your waist. And now as you breathe out, it's like you're trying to bring your hip bones up towards your ribs here. And to do that, we give our belly muscles a little pull upwards on the exhale. It's like we're scooping them in and towards us. You could put your fingers on the hip bones, the ribs, we're just on the hip bones, the ribs themselves. So I'm going for my low bit of ribs. And think about bringing those hip bones a little closer to the ribs, and the ribs are staying in the same place. So the ribs aren't going up and down like that. They stay in the same place, and the hip bones go away and then come closer, go away and come closer. It all does the same thing. It's all a pelvic tone. Now let go, have a little wiggle, tap the back of your head, take your head back a little, and turn your head side to side as easily as you can. I'm just going to have a little look and see if anyone has joined us who normally joins us. Oh, hello, Jackie, Irene, Christine and Jean, all here live on Facebook. Hello, hello. I can't see live in the Facebook comments, so I'll have to see it afterwards. Sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. But Andrea from Virtual Village Hall, she always lets me know if you're here. So hiya, nice to have you here. Then come back to the center. I'm going to do some sort of roll. I'm going to roll. It's about a quarter turn one way, a quarter turn the other, but it can be bigger than that. That's just my comfortable place. And you could also just give your neck a stroke if you prefer that. If your neck is super stiff, go for that instead. And then come back to the center. Let's work one shoulder at a time. So we're going to work one shoulder. Let it turn your waist. So I'm just letting my whole torso move as I give that shoulder a little roll backwards. I'm keeping my arm really close. You could even have your arm shorter and smaller and closer to you like that. Especially if you're seated, you can just rest your hands on your thighs. That's it. And then, especially if you're seated for this one, take your legs wider and come a little forwards in your chair. Could you slide your hands backwards and forwards on your thighs? And if you're standing, let your feet move, let your arms gently swish around you. You might let your arms flop onto your body. You might keep them just swishing in the air. Imagine water or bubbles or whatever you fancy. And now if you're seated, swishing too. Press lightly into your feet. You might feel it in your feet. You might feel your legs tighten, but just lightly. That's it. And then come back to the center. We're going to give our feet a little wipe or a rub, and you can bring your feet closer together if you like. They could be facing completely forwards, about 2 fists apart, or you could have them a little bit wider, but let's have them facing forwards. So you could have them this width, just facing forwards is good. Now we're going to lift the toes up and down, or just about get my toes on the chair. There we are. Same if you're standing. And then grow tall. If you're seated, place your hands on your chest. If you're standing, put your arms down by your side. And now we're going to press into our feet a little and rock forwards and backwards. So if I'm seated, just a little forwards. I'm not going like right down to my legs. And if you want something a little softer, put your hands on your knees. If I'm standing, it looks like this. It's a little bit sinister. I think of it as a sort of looming. I'm looming towards you. That's it. And then can we make this into a circle? So you're either feeling this circle on your feet, and you might feel almost like you're rocking a little backwards and forwards, and your toes are coming up and down. You also might feel a bit unstable, a bit too much lack of stability. So you might need a little assistance from a handy chair, or be doing this next to a wall, or perhaps you've got a stick and you use that. That's it. And now we're going to go into a little thing for our hands, just rotating the wrists each way. I'm going to come a bit closer so you can see the hands really clearly. And now we're going to go for a thumb and fingertip touch, trying to make a round shape. Take your time and like I'm doing, look at your fingers as you're doing it. So I'm going for each one, and I've done each one twice. Now we're going to have our hands upright, Could you make your fingers bend at the top like a hook? Now, my little finger, which you are seeing first, you'll notice this one here particularly is slower to come down. You might find the same. Little fingers, they don't do as much. They're weaker. We tend to use the first two fingers more because they work more in conjunction with the thumb. So the little fingers are sometimes a bit slow. My little fingers are a bit stiff as well. One more. Next one is a sort of duck shape. So the fingers come down. So I'll show you in all different angles. And now hands up again. And we're going to roll them down into a fist. Up. And roll them down. And again, you can see that most of my fingers can work together, but the little finger has got a little bit of a mind of its own. My thumbs have got a bit of a mind of their own as well. Now this last fist, just hold it. We're not going super tight. Stretch out and hold it. Now, as you stretch out, some of you might notice that happening, that sort of finger flare. And often we get this when we've got quite bendy joints, more than bendy average, and my fingers are like that. So I'm trying not to encourage that. They will do that a lot. I'm trying to control it more and just stretch outwards rather than that sort of flare upwards. Some of you might not be like that. We're all so different. So stretching out, bring them in, out, in, like a sort of flashlight. That's it. And then give things a little shake. And now we're going to take our arms into a figure eight and make that bigger. And I'm bringing the rest of my body into it. Little lean back, little lean forwards. And you can see my hips, my bum are moving. If I'm doing this sitting, I have my legs wider. I like to go in between and then out to the side. That's when I knock a plant over normally. I've just moved my plants around and now I'm regretting it. This one's got loads and loads of stuff going on and I could catch it in my hands. The light's changed. So, in the house, I'm just starting to move the house plants around so they get their better place, or so they're not too hot in some places. That's it. And then, could you take your legs wider if they're not wide already? If you're seated, they'll probably be wide. And we're going to come to a sort of sumo squat. So if you're seated, it'll look like this. And if you're standing, it's going to look like this. Your back doesn't need to drop like that. It can be straight. There we go. We're going to do a little dip. One shoulder goes towards the knee. You can see it's just towards. Mine's miles away from it. Come back to the center. Little push from this hand, pushing the leg out a little, going towards. So I'm just going to do that a couple of times each side. That's it. And then bring your legs in again. Stand tall, sit tall. Next, we're going to take a foot forward and a foot back. So it's a bit like if you're in the chair, it's a bit like you're going to get up. You're about to stand and come up that way. We're not doing that at the moment. We're just going to do a little balance work. If you're standing, it's like you've taken a step. And I'd like you to rock forwards and backwards. It helps to have something ahead that you're looking at, like a target to move towards and then move away from. Move towards and move away from. And you're just trying to get that feeling like you would with a step, that your foot hits the ground and then it rocks back again. Now, if you're seated, slightly different because there's a little less movement with the chair. We're a bit more confined. We can still rock forwards. And then I'm rocking back a little in the chair and lifting my toes up towards me. So the foot, apart from the heels, coming back. So I'm putting a little bit more momentum in. The back foot doesn't change very much. It's just this front foot. You could lift it up and then dig it down and lift it up as you rock back. But that's only if that's available to you. We're just working with our balance here. And then we're going to swap around. Having your eyes on that sort of target. I'm looking out of the window. I can see a house opposite, a bit of their roof. So I'm just looking towards the guttering and away from their guttering. It can really help that focus. And so you're not looking downwards at your feet, but you're looking ahead like you do when you're walking outside. And then we're done with that. Give everything a little shake out. We're going to take it down to either your mat or your bed. And if it's your bed, take your duvet back so you're on a bit of a firmer surface. If you want to stay in your chair, I'm going to show you some moves from my sofa bed. I'll just move this one out of the way. And this is a good time as well to have a drink. Get anything else that you might need. I always get a cushion for my head. We are going to do a bit of side lying today, so having extra cushions to lie your hips on can be comfortable as well. I'll show you here. I've got a thick mat here, and then I have another mat on top because I like the surface, and I'm on a rug. So yeah, it's nice to have a good cushioning underneath to be really comfy. Right. We're going to either lie down with our legs bent or sit right back in your chair and lean against the chair back. You might want the cushion behind you, but get yourself comfy. And take your time. Don't rush getting down. You want to feel as secure and comfortable as you can whilst you get down, using whatever works for you. There's lots of different ways to get up and down off the floor. And you might have been shown one by a physio, or you might have looked at something online. And just taking a bit of time to give your legs a bit of a sway. You might want to circle your ankles, so you could have longer legs and do it that way, or you might lift a leg in the air and do it that way. So however you want to move your leg away from you, move that leg away and give that ankle a circle. Think about the heel pushing around and drawing circles each way. Going to do the other foot. I can really hear the birds all tweeting outside. Lovely late afternoon light, and it's so light again. Oh, the best. And then we're going to be in this, sometimes people call it a relaxation position. It depends if you find it relaxing in this position. But we've got our feet on the floor and our legs bent. This tends to be more comfortable for the back, especially if you're lying down. This long position, if you've got any back issues, low back issues, sometimes a bit uncomfortable. You might even put things under your legs, like pile of cushions or sometimes a chair, and rest this part of your leg on it. That can feel really nice with back issues. So feet are on the floor, hands somewhere around the belly for a bit of feedback. And we're going to do some pelvic tilts here. So let's take a wide breath in again, sending it to the sides of our waist, just like we did before at the start of the class. And then as we breathe out, this area here that I'm just stroking with my hand, this is the area we're trying to lift up and towards us. And then if you're lying down, your waistband dips down. It might go deep down into your mat. It might not if you've got like a really arched back. It may not be able to lower itself that much. It might just lower a bit. And then we're going to push forwards and breathe in. Breathe out, and you're pulling your belly up and back. And now we're going to relax that and let it go forwards and rest in the middle. So it's not going one way or the other. Now we're going to do a circle. So you can imagine marble on a tray, or even more interesting to imagine a Malteser on a tray, just pushing that around. That's if you're lying down. If you are seated, it's not as good as a marble on a tray or a Malteser on a tray because it's a washing machine. But I like to imagine silk scarves, perhaps in a tumble dryer, sort of going around, and your circle it's got like a vertical orientation. So your circle is here rather than here. And could you change your circle direction? So it goes the other way. Maybe close your eyes. You can either tune into the sensations that you're getting, or you can imagine your marble or your Malteser or whatever round thing you're using, or your silk scarves in the tumble dryer. And then let everything rest again. Perfect. Right, now the arms are going down by our sides. So that'll be on leaning against the floor if you're lying down, or just down by your sides if you're seated. We're going to keep the arms so that the arms and the hands are one. We're not going to bend the hand in any way. Take a breath in any old way. And hover your arms either off the floor about 3 inches or just slightly forward if you're sitting. And then take them down. Breath in. Breathe out, hover the arms and take them down back by your sides. One more, breath in. And breath out, hover the arms. Bit of tension in your belly stops everything else moving. Now take them higher until they're up towards the ceiling if you're lying down, or ahead of you if you're sitting, palms together. And then take them down, but don't touch anything. So not touching the floor, and then we take them up again. Not touching your sides, they're just really close to your sides. Now, as you're doing that, we'll hold them in place first, so forwards or up towards the ceiling. And we're going to have either one leg in tabletop or one leg in a heel raise. That's what that looks like if you're seated. And we're going to move those arms again up and down, but nothing else moves. That leg is still, or it's in its heel raise. We're doing 3, that's number 3. Going to keep them hovered by my side, change legs. Same again. Maybe your arms can go a little further back, closer towards your head and your ears. And then if you're seated, bring your legs together and double heel raise. If you're on the floor, you could either go back to one leg and then bring the other leg up, and you could be like this. If that's too much, place one leg down, and we'll do 2, and then you can change over. I'm going to keep both legs up and do 2 more. And then take the legs down. You might want them in towards your chest. You might want to give yourself a hug. But we're going to end with our, well, not end the class, just end that movement, with our arms either down on the floor or at the sides of the chair, and just giving a little push through the feet, very small one, just for a little sway. Sway of the knees, sway of the hips. That's it. And now take your legs wider, so about as wide as the mat. If you've had a hip replacement, this next movement's small, or if you have hips that dislocate, and we're going to dip inwards. So, for instance, with this leg here, it's coming down towards the mat. I've got a fair amount of movement here, and I haven't got anything problem with my hips. So I haven't got a hip replacement. If you've got a hip replacement, might be a really small movement like that, just comes in a bit towards your center line and no further. The other leg's not doing anything, it's just going to stay still. See how I go into the side of your foot, or it might just be a little bit, and then I'll do the other side. Exactly the same if you're seated. Perfect. Right, now we're going to bring the legs closer together. If you're lying down, I shall show you the seated in a minute. In fact, it's closer together if you're seated. And then if you're lying down on your side, you might want any cushion that you have on your neck and your arm. You might have your arm like this, but you want your head to feel comfortable. So that's your position. Your feet, your bum, your head and your spine are all in line. I'm just tucking my jumper back out of the way. And so it should feel like your body wants to roll over, and that's the position you want. If you're sitting, you're just sitting on the edge of your seat, front third with your legs together in that L shape. Now, if you're lying down, hover your feet slightly, pressing your legs together. So your feet are just slightly hovered. Now we're going to do, it's a clam type of exercise. So we're opening and closing the knees. That's it. You can even open and not really close. And I'm just using this hand here just to make sure I don't fall over, but you might put your hand on your hip here or even just a little bit behind and feel your bum tighten. Now, about 5 or 6 of those, please, whilst I talk to you. Anybody seated. Feet together. One leg goes out and in. That's it. This is an outward movement, so hip replacements all good. I am pressing down through my feet as I'm doing this. We're on the last one. Now let your legs part if you're seated and have a little side to side. If you're lying down, just give the sides a little rub. Now, if you are seated, I'd like you to have your legs a little bit wider. I'm going to come onto the edge of this just to show you where we're going to go with this. A little bit wider, and think about which side you're doing, because we're going to repeat this and do the other side. So I'm going to do my left side, hand near your shoulder, and I want you to just do a little elbow circle and let your body open out. So that's what it looks like seated. Keep that going. Lying down. So we were like this, and we've given everything a rub. Now this hand's coming up towards the shoulder, and I'd like you to give that a little circle. Think of the elbow point during the circle, but you can see my body just rocking back with that circle, letting my legs open, and then they close again. You might do it less than that. It might look more like this. But if you're comfortable to rock back a lot and then rock back onto your side, rocking and rolling, that's it. And then we'll come to the last one. And then if you're on your side, just roll onto your back for a moment. If you're seated, you're sitting with your legs apart. If you're seated, could you go into some pelvic tilts? And if you're lying down, pelvic tilts again, but you might go into the tiniest of bridges. We haven't taken this cushion out, so we're keeping it low, just enough to let your hands go under your bum, and then rolling down. So I'm doing my pelvic tilt, and then I push into my feet and just lift my hips up. Relax and roll down. And I'm keeping my head looking at the ceiling so that I don't get this sort of up and down the mat thing going on. And one more of those pelvic tilts, all those tiny little bridges. And then we're going to do the other side. So you might roll away from me if you're lying down so that you don't have to swap around. I'm going to swap around so you get all the views. So if you're seated, your legs are together and you're opening the other side out, the other leg out. If you've been alternating by any chance, if you're seated, alternate. If you're lying down, you're on your other side. So I'm trying to line myself up with the back of my mat. I'm just having a little feel of the edge because I can then feel that with my feet near my bum and then with my head. So I know that everything's in line. I often see people with their head quite far forwards. So it's a good way. And I can see how that happens because with the elbow here, it's quite, if you're looking down at your knees, your head's too far forwards. Right. So I'm ready. I'm going to put my hand up here this time because I think I'm quite balanced. And I'm going to hover my feet just a little off the floor. Feet stay together, they're hinged. Now I'm going to open and close my knees. Now, if this knee is off the floor a little bit, it could be probably going to be just touching. That's it. It's this top leg that really moves. And this can be quite intense. You might just do 3 and that's enough. I'm going to go somewhere between 6 and 8. I reckon one more. And generally, that's what people want to do after those. Some sort of bringing their legs a little closer to around their back. I like my top leg closer to me. And just a bit of rubbing. And then we're going to do that elbow circle. So put the legs back where they were, feet in line with the back of your bum, back of your shoulders, your spine and your head. And then this arm's going to do an elbow circle. That's where it starts. Sort of outward circle the pointy bit of your elbow, drawing it. Then you might let your body roll back and your legs just part a little and then roll forwards. So as long as that's comfortable for you. If you're seated, you're doing the side you didn't do and your legs are apart. And we'll go for a couple more of those. And then back on our side if you're lying down. And we're going to push to seated so that everybody is in a seated position. You might sit on a cushion if you've got one. And let's sit in a slightly wider position. So that could be cross-legged, it could be your legs bent, it could be your legs straight. So you feel that your back is upright. Can we place hands on our chest? Grow tall. Take a breath into your waist again. These sighs like we did at the beginning. And as you breathe out, could you push a little into your hands so that your ribs under your hands just push upwards. And then relax, have a little wiggle. Breathe into your waist again. Breathe out, push that chest upwards a little. Let everything go, have another little wiggle. Last one, breathe in. Breathe out, just push upwards a little. And then let go, let your arms go. Take your palms to the sides. Time's already run away with us. Scoop at the end, breathe in. Bring your hands together to a center line to touch in front of you. And then in towards your chest. Fantastic. Well done. Well done for making it here, for putting this time sort of aside, for completing this half hour, whatever timing you did. Always a pleasure. I shall see you next week. Have a lovely week.